Hello everyone, welcome to another video about Train Driver 2. I'm Fluffy Armchair Admiral and today I'm going to teach you how to operate EN57 and EN71 electric multiple units that you can find in this game. Before we begin today's video, I would like to remind you to press that like and subscribe buttons and don't forget to turn on the bell icon to receive notifications about my future content. I would also like to encourage you to join my Discord server. You can find link in description down below this video. In today's video, you will learn how to operate EN57 and EN71 electric multiple units as they are currently represented in Train Driver 2. Please bear in mind that some procedures may vary between different simulators and real-life operations. Today I will walk you through camera controls and dashboard layout, cold start procedure, cabin change, brake usage, setup for shunting, setup for drive, stopping the train. But before we jump into the game, I want you to set up a few things in the game settings so that you will have easier time learning how to control these units. After pressing the settings button in main menu of the game, navigate to Game tab and make sure that speed hints, keyboard control, and steering hints are ticked. It will make your learning experience much easier, and later, you can always turn them off if you wish to do so. Additionally, you can also untick locomotive faults. That will prevent you from getting any mechanical malfunctions of your unit. Now that we are all set up and ready, let's jump into one of the single-player scenarios. This is a great and calm learning environment where you can experiment with various settings and learn how to drive at your own pace. We will select scenario 002, where we will be driving EN57. We are now in one of two cabins of our unit. Each cabin is located at either end of the consist. Both cabins have the same layout. Some units may be equipped with modernized version of the dashboard, however, order of operations and keyboard layouts will remain the same. Let's start from camera controls. You can adjust your camera position by using W, S, A, D buttons. W key will move camera forward. S key will move camera backward. A key will move camera to the left, and D will move camera to the right. Alternatively, you can press and hold middle mouse button and drag your camera along the same axis. You can also turn the camera around its axis using arrow keys. Key up will turn the camera up. Key down will turn the camera down. Key left will turn the camera left. And key right will turn the camera right. Alternatively, you can press and hold right mouse button to look around. Camera height can also be adjusted using Shift and key up or key down combinations. Shift and up will raise the camera, and Shift and down key will lower the camera. You can reset your camera to its default position by using one key. You can also change the default position after you adjust the camera using Control and one key combination. After you've done that, every time you press one key, the camera will jump back to the new default position. Your default camera position will also work after you change the cabin, so you don't have to set it up separately for each one of them. There are 7 predefined cameras in the game. You can switch between each one of them using 1 to 7 buttons on your keyboard. You can also adjust and lock them using the same method as shown before. Finally, you can leave your train when stationary by using F11 key and move around same as you would do in most FPS games. Now that we got the basics covered, let's talk about our dashboard. Most buttons and switches will have some function attached to them, and they can be operated using mouse or keyboard shortcuts. Some of them you will be able to switch, but they won't do anything, and some you won't be able to change at all. Starting from the left side, hidden beneath the dashboard, you can find a fuse box. In this unit, you will be able to flick them, but they won't do anything at all. You can open and close the fuse box by clicking on the lid. You can also find your radio telephone attached to the fuse box. The only button that will work on it is radio stop. It is part of train protection system that drivers can use to stop all rail traffic in their vicinity if they spot any immediate danger. Please keep in mind that misuse of this system during multiplayer session may lead to account suspension or ban. Moving closer to our seat, we got 8 status lights and 2 buttons that will allow you to test their respective column of status lights when pressed. Those lights will turn on and off as you drive your train. Starting from top left, we got departure signal that will light up when you use door buzzer. Moving to the right, you got your electro-pneumatic brake status light. It will light up when you set your reverser in forward or reverse position and will turn off when your reverser is set to neutral. In second row, we got engine overload relay status light that will turn on if you overload the engines. And to the right, you got main circuit resistance element indicator. It will light up in early stages of acceleration when resistors are used to control engine RPM. In third row, we got converter status light that will light up when converter is off. To the right, we got main circuit breaker status light that will light up when it's off. In fourth row, we got reserve status light that is not used, and to its right, there is a radio telephone status light that will be lit when radio is on. Moving more to the right, we got 2 light indicators for automatic train brake system and alerter. Those will light up periodically to check driver's alertness. If left without response, they will be followed by a loud buzzer, and after additional few seconds, train brakes will be applied. You can respond to them using alerter reset button, located right in front of the driver's seat, or by pressing spacebar button. Below we have several gauges. Let's quickly go through them. On top left corner, we got low voltage circuit ammeter. Next to it, there is a traction engines ammeter, main circuit voltmeter, and the last one is low voltage circuit voltmeter. Below we can find 3 pressure gauges. Starting from the left one, we got brake cylinder pressure, brake pipe pressure, and main reservoir pressure. Below them you can find 2 levers. Left one is reverser. It will let you set the direction of the travel. In this unit, it has 5 different positions. W, reverser turned off. 0, neutral position. Forward 1, forward position. Normal current levels use this position for shunting or regular travel at high speed. Forward 2, forward position. High current levels. Use this if you need to climb a steep hill and you need more torque than speed. Back 1, reverse position. Use this position for shunting maneuvers. Next, we got regulator. It will let you apply and release the throttle. It has 7 positions. 0, no throttle. P, low speed position. Use it for shunting and during initial movement. S, engines in series position. Use it for low medium speed drive or when accelerating to high speed. R, engines in parallel position. Use it for medium high speed drive and when accelerating to full speed. B1, B2 and B3 are first, second and third field shunting positions. Use them for high-speed drive. The main part of our dashboard is occupied by 3 rows of switches. Those will operate different aspects of our train, like lights, heating, compressor, converter, destination plates, etc. Some of these functions will work, and some of them will not. All these buttons can be switched using your mouse, and some of them will also be controlled by keyboard shortcuts. Starting from the top row, we have unlock compressor, cabin lights, destination board, front left headlight white, front right headlight white, front left headlight red, front right headlight red, cabin heating, and gauge lights. In the second row, we got main circuit breaker, unlock overload relays, automatic train brake light dimmer, top headlight, passenger compartment heating, compressor, master switch, and radio telephone. And finally, in bottom row, we can find rear pantograph up, front pantograph up, front pantograph down, headlight dimmer, passenger compartment lights off, passenger compartment lights on, converter off and unlock, and converter on. The red button at the end of a third row will lower all pantographs, and that lone switch below is alerter light dimmer. Closest to the driver's seat, we can find alerter reset button and a door control panel. Switches on the panel will operate left door, departure signal, and right door respectively, and indicator lights will switch on when the doors on their side are opened. Below on the floor, we can find two pedal switches. They will operate train horn, left one for low tone and right one for high tone. To the right of driver's seat, we have our train brake lever. It has 7 positions. Electropneumatic brake release, normal drive, electropneumatic brake application, pneumatic brake release and drive, pneumatic brake cutoff, pneumatic brake application, and cutoff. Emergency brake application is achieved by moving brake to 6th position and leaving the brake until train has stopped. Finally, on the right pillar, we have our speedometer. Please note that in Train Driver 2, not every function and switch in EN57 and EN71 is properly simulated at the time of recording this video. A great example will be brake, where positions 4 and 5 are not correctly simulated and will work like position 3. However, it is possible that in the future more and more elements will be simulated in a correct way. Now that you learned what each button should do, let's press them in the right order to turn this bad boy on. In this section, you will learn how to start EN57 and EN71. Please note that you can't spawn with those units turned off. But this knowledge may be very useful in case you mess something up while performing other tasks and your unit will suddenly go quiet. Best method to fix most of the problems is to just go through startup procedure and you will most likely be able to get going again. Procedure presented in this tutorial will be adjusted for current state of Train Driver 2. So, our EN57 is currently completely shut off and both pantographs are down. We will start from raising at least one pantograph. To do that, turn on and hold one of raise pantograph switches on your dashboard or press and hold Shift and O combination on your keyboard for rear pantograph or Shift and P combination for front one. You will notice that main circuit voltmeter jumped up to just over 3 kV. That means the pantograph is now raised and we can power other systems. Now turn on main circuit breaker by clicking on the switch or by pressing Shift and M combination on your keyboard. You will notice that its respective light on left side of the dashboard switched off. Now we need to turn on the converter. Click and hold its switch on the dashboard or press and hold X button on your keyboard. You will hear it turn on as well as you will notice that low voltage circuit ammeter and voltmeter arrows moved and converter indicator light switched off. Now we can start up the compressor. You can just click on the switch or use C button on your keyboard. If the pressure in your main reservoir is too low, it should automatically top it up to appropriate level. Now let's turn on the radio telephone by clicking on the correct switch on your dashboard or by pressing L on your keyboard. You will notice that blue indicator light lit up. And that concludes this part of the tutorial. As you may have noticed, our unit is now in the same state as if you would just spawned in. Please refer to other parts of this tutorial to find out how to set up your unit for different types of maneuvers. To change your cabin, you need to make sure that the reverser is set to neutral position. You can adjust its position by dragging the lever with your mouse or by pressing page up and page down buttons on your keyboard. Now turn your camera to the left so that you can see the door located on the back wall of the cabin. Now click on the door. You are now in the cabin located at the other end of your consist. You can reset the camera position by pressing 1 on your keyboard. If you have previously set up a new camera position, it will still work in the other cabin. As you may have noticed from one of the previous sections of this tutorial, brake lever has 7 different positions. However, in Train Driver 2, its usage is limited to only electropneumatic function and emergency braking. For brake to work, you need to supply it with electricity. You can do that by setting your reverser in any drive position. You will notice blue light come on your dashboard. It means the electro-pneumatic brake is now powered and will work correctly. To change the brake lever position step by step, use 3 and 9 buttons on your numerical keyboard. You can also use some shortcuts to set the lever in specific positions. Press 0 on your numerical keyboard to set your brake lever to position 6, which in that case will be pneumatic brake application. In Train Driver 2, you will use it as emergency brake. Now press 4 button on your numerical keyboard to set it back in drive position. Notice that your brake pipe is now filling up again, and if your brakes were fully released before using emergency brake, brake cylinders should also release automatically. Now move the lever to third position by pressing button 2 on your numerical keyboard or use step-by-step adjustment. Notice that this time brake cylinder filled up, but brake pipe remained unchanged. Now go back to drive position. As you may have noticed, your brakes are still applied. This is the effect of electro-pneumatic brake. Now the valve will keep steady pressure in brake cylinder until you manually release it. Now try and push the lever to release position and hold it for just 1 or 2 seconds. Notice that as soon as you let go of the button, your brake lever came back to drive position. You may also have noticed that not all pressure will let go from brake cylinder. This way you can adjust your brake force to satisfy your needs and increase your stopping accuracy within the platform. Just jump between positions 1, 2 and 3 to regulate your pressure in brake cylinders. The electric valve will hold it exactly where you want it to. Sadly, because positions 4 and 5 are programmed to mimic third position, it is not possible to use only pneumatic brakes in those units. Now that we know how to use our train, it's time to begin our journey. In this scenario, we are supposed to begin from shunting our train into the platform that's behind us. To do so, we need to set up our consist for shunting, change the cabin, and then slowly drive into the platform, where we can then prepare our train for departure and let the passengers in. We will begin at the rear cabin. To prepare our train for shunting, we need to at least turn on the correct light signals. It will inform people around us about our intentions and direction of travel. The signal we need to use is called TB1, front and rear white light on at the side of an active cabin. The lights must form a line along the train length to indicate the direction of travel. So what does that mean? Well, it's simple. On each end of a train, the cabin is on the right side of a train looking in direction of travel. We want to move this train back into the platform, and for that we will be using the cabin at the other end. This also means that the active cabin will be to the left of our current one, so the light that we need to turn on in this cabin is left white headlight. You can turn it on by clicking on the appropriate switch on your dashboard or by pressing Y button on your keyboard. Also, please note that headlight controls are separate for each cabin, so keyboard shortcuts will operate the lights only at this end of a train. Since we are also going to drive a passenger train and we already know our service's destination, we can also turn on the destination plates at this end. This step is not mandatory, but since we are already here, why not set it up now? You can turn them on by clicking on the appropriate switch on your dashboard or by pressing Shift and R key combination on your keyboard. Now we are ready to change our cabin. In this cabin, we need to turn on right white headlight to finish setting up for shunting. You can do it by clicking on the appropriate switch on your dashboard or by pressing I key on your keyboard. Same as previously, we can also turn on destination plates on this end of our train. We can also change the pantograph as we will be moving in this direction. To do that, click and hold Raise Rear Pantograph switch for a few seconds. Alternatively, you can use Shift and O key combination on your keyboard. You can also use external camera to check if it's raised. Now we can lower the front pantograph by clicking and holding the appropriate switch for a second. You can also use P button on your keyboard. Now all we must do is to set our reverser to forward 1 or forward 2 position. Release the brakes, sound a horn, and apply some throttle to get going. You can move the reverser to forward position by dragging the lever with your mouse or by using page up and page down buttons on your keyboard. Now release the brake. In order to do so, push and hold the brake lever away from you by pressing 9 button on numerical keyboard. Keep the lever in that position until your brake cylinder pressure falls to 0. When your brakes are released, just let go of your brake. The lever will come back to drive position. Now sound a horn to indicate that you are about to get moving. You can do so by clicking one of the pedals below the dashboard or by pressing H key on your keyboard for high tone and Shift and H for low tone. Finally, move the regulator to P position to slowly get moving. Please note that shunting should be performed at speeds no greater than 25 km per hour. So keep observing your speedometer and control your speed using regulator and brakes if needed. You can move the regulator by dragging it with your mouse or by pressing plus or minus on your numerical keyboard. Also, don't forget to observe alerter lights and reset them using alerter reset button on your dashboard or by pressing spacebar on your keyboard. Now let's stop next to the platform and let the passengers in. We need to open left side doors. Click on the left door switch on your dashboard or use comma key on your keyboard. Now that we are waiting for our departure time, we can prepare our train to drive on a main line. To do so, we need to set up the correct light signals on both ends of our train, turn on direction plates if we haven't done that already, raise the correct pantograph for driving, and then, at the right time, we can close the doors and get moving. Let's start from the back of our train. To be able to jump to the other cabin, make sure your reverser is set to neutral. You can drag the lever using your mouse or press page up and page down buttons on your keyboard. Now click on the doors behind your seat to change the cabin. Here we need to switch left and right headlight to red. You can click the appropriate switches on your dashboard or use Shift and Y key combination for left and Shift and I combination for right red light. Also, don't forget to turn off any white lights. If you did everything correctly, the back of your train should look like that. If you haven't done so already, you can also turn on direction plates at this end. You can do that by clicking on the appropriate switch on your dashboard or press Shift and R key combination on your keyboard. Now we can jump back to the other cabin. In this cabin, we will set up front headlight, directional plate and pantographs. Our right light should already be on at this point, so let's just turn on the left and top ones. Just click on the appropriate switches on your dashboard or press Y for left white headlight and U for top white headlight. Now turn on directional plates if you haven't done that already and switch your pantograph to rear one as we will be driving in this direction. There are few additional things you may want to turn on to improve your driving comfort. First one is gauge lights. Turn them on by clicking on the correct switch on your dashboard or by pressing K button on your keyboard. You can also turn on cabin lights by using the correct switch or by pressing F on your keyboard. When you reach your planned departure time, and when you have clear signal to proceed, we can get moving towards our next destination. Before we depart, make sure to use departure signal and close the doors. You can click the correct switches on your dashboard or press and hold / on your keyboard for departure signal and press comma or dot keys for left and right doors respectively. Now set your reverser to forward 1 or 2 position. Release the brakes and apply the throttle. You can now drive to your next scheduled stop, which is Skierz-Kontrewerz. I'll see you there. Welcome back. We are now approaching our first scheduled stop at Skierz-Kontrewerz. You may notice that in this case, it is a station that is covered by semi-automatic signals, as we are now passing distant-only signal. Please keep in mind that AI Dispatcher in Train Driver 2 can only set clear route, and during multiplayer session, a proper signal for this station entry would be different. We are now approaching an entry signal, and since we know that station should be somewhere behind it, we will reduce our speed a bit to make sure we can stop in time. We can now see the platform in the distance, and as we approach the platform, let's control our brake force by applying and releasing the brake to make sure that we stop roughly at the middle of the platform, since our EMU is only 83 meters long. After you've stopped your train, make sure to open the doors to let the passengers board and disembark the train, and wait until your next departure time. And that concludes our today's tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving it a like and subscribe. You may also consider becoming a channel member by clicking that join button. Also, don't forget to join my Discord server. You can find the invite link in the description of this video. Have a great day and see you on the rails. Bye bye!